Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to cook up some fun. Uh, it's called Coping with Life. For those of you who don't know, on Friday evenings, I cook a meal using leftovers from my fridge for the week. And I keep trying to find creative ways to use those leftovers. So hopefully you will enjoy it. Tonight, we're going to do some chow mein. And I'm also going to show you how I portion control. Because chow mein is one of those things that I like to go back for thirds and fourths, never mind seconds. So that is a very important thing for me as I try to look after my health better, is how do I help myself eat less so I can enjoy more of the other stuff. For those of you who don't know, I am somebody that was declared diabetic 6 years ago, but my doctor said, if you can bring it under control in the next 3 months, I'm not going to need to put you on medication. If you can't control yourself within the next 3 months, then I will be putting you on medication and you'll be on it for the rest of your life. And I really appreciated that. So luckily, I had one of my viewers who you will meet in a little while, Jody, and she taught me how to eat a lot better. And ah, oh, sorry, Isabel, did I put up the wrong link? She's just saying she was waiting in the wrong broadcast. Did I put up the wrong link, perhaps? Ugh, I hate it when I do that. Okay, there's Jody. And Jody's our admin, for those of you who don't know. Did I put up the wrong link? No? Okay, good. Phew. Thank goodness. All right, so I was declared diabetic, and what I've been doing over the last 6 years is learning to eat better with Jody's help, because Jody had experience, and then also through my own creativity. So tonight we're going to make less chow mein than I would like, so that I can enjoy dessert, which is going to be a peanut butter mousse with black cherries and stuff. And I'll be able to eat it to guilt free because I'm under control. Hi there, Karen. Good to see you as well. So we're going to start off, but before I do, how many of you remember the experiment last week, which was dehydrated lettuce chips? Do any of you remember that? Well, it's been sitting in my homemade dehydrator, which is a bar suspended over my floor vent. Uh, so all week it's been sitting there in its brown paper bag, and I thought I would show you what it looks like. I have no idea, so hold on a second. Your guess is as good as mine. Wow, there we go. Well, it doesn't look overly appetizing, all right, but it definitely dehydrated. And, huh, oh, tastes like seaweed, but we know it's good for me. So, hmm, actually, what did we put on it? Some sort of tomato stuff, right? No, it's not crunchy. It's more like jerky, but it's definitely dehydrated. A little bit crunchy. That would be because it was romaine. Ah, interesting. I automatically went back for seconds. So Morris makes you want more. Actually, that's not bad. It's a bit like wine. You know, the first sip you're wondering why you drink wine, and by the third you're going, "Where's the next bottle?" Um, mm, okay, people, don't waste lettuce. That surprises me. So I'm gonna put that away for now. Mm. I can't remember what I put on it, but I had it's got a bite to it, so I must put paprika or something in with the. I think I had a tomato base, That's good. Whatever it was, I'd have to look back and see what we did. Whatever it was, I need to do that again. All right, so now then, tip for the day. Went to go and get some potato out yesterday, and look what I found. Some of my potatoes are starting to sprout. Now, I don't know what you do when your potatoes start to sprout. I jumped with glee. Why? Do any of you know why? There's another one. I ate the rest, but I left that bit. Dum 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 dum. Okay, this one will make 2 seed potatoes to go into my garden, and this one will make a third one. So they're going to get planted this week. Wait a minute, let me check my thing. Potatoes. I think you can plant potatoes basically all year. But they like cold weather, so pretty darn awesome. I was excited. I went, oh, they're sprouting. Yay. Now, some I grow. I start off by growing them in grow bags, and then the rest of them go in the garden. So just so that you know that. The other thing I wanted to mention, and again, I'm not getting paid by these people, but boy, this stuff is good. Have any of you got this stuff in your market? What it is a collection of seeds and nuts. What's it got in it? Hold on one second. Dry roasted sunflower seeds, dry roasted pumpkin seeds, cranberries, cashews, sauce, soya bean, and a little bit of salt. You can taste the salt. And it is about 150 calories for a quarter of a cup. But here is what I want to tell you. When I suddenly get I feel like something sweet, I go for protein instead. So I just open up the bag, okay, and just take a small handful, like yay, and go. Much better for you. It's protein. Well, I think, if I remember correctly, about $10 a bag, but I will definitely buy again. Put over salads, put over all sorts of stuff. But what I wanted to say is I find it really interesting when I feel I need something sweet and I change it and give it something that's protein. Very tasty, and it works for me. Okay, Karen's saying garlic likes cold weather too, from what I hear. You can plant it in the fall. Yes, if I were not allergic to it, I'd probably be planting it as well, along with onions. Onions, you can start planting onions now. Yeah. Start them inside. You can actually put them outside in February. So I'm growing some. All right, so here we go. We've got the rainbow. So the first thing that we're going to do is to make sure that we don't cook too much. So I use my mason jars, as you know. And all I'm going to do is to put in a handful. And I thought, if you'd be interested, I'll do more of these, what I call my mason jar meals, which are very simple to make. And they keep my portion control under control. All right, so here we go. And it doesn't matter what I'm cooking, whether it's pasta or rice or whatever. Any of these forbidden foods, as I call them, I put about 1/3 Okay, 1/3 of a measure in here, and fill it up with water. Not quite full, but I think that's about the right amount. Hold on 1 second. Now here's another hack. I don't think I've discussed this with you. For those of you who've got air fryers, I found that the basket was a pain to clean. So what I've done is I've taken a barbecue mat and I just cut the corners a bit. See that? Like that. And now I've got a lining for my basket that's so easy. It goes straight in the dishwasher. The way I put it in the dishwasher is I just turn it like that and it takes up no room at all in my dishwasher. Or as you can see, you can give it a quick wipe and it's clean. Way easier than the basket. So just thought I'd show you that. And the way that I cook pasta or anything like that, I put it in the mason jar and just put the lid on, not the screw top, just the lid on top. So I've just put it on for 30 minutes at 350. It probably will be done in 20, I would think, but we'll see. Okay, so these are going away. Now, just so that you'll be surprised to hear this, but that amount of chow mein noodles will probably make enough for 2 servings, not just one. I know it doesn't look like it, but that's what I'm learning. If you remember to check every now and then, what is a serving of pasta? It's not very much, surprisingly little. And so that's how I've trained myself to make the difference. All right, moving on. So my chow mein noodles are going to have a little noodle at the bottom. Then we're going to be eating the rainbow on top of that, or mixed in with it. So let's do that. Okay, and I find these little containers are great for my oven, my toaster oven. Oh, not toaster oven, air fryer. How many of you remember I was dehydrating vegetables last week? I dehydrated them. You know, I mulched them all up, right? Remember, in the blender. And then I spread them out and let them dry all week. All those vegetables, 2 plates of it, 2 big things of it, came down into this much vegetable powder. How about that? Isn't that awesome? And by the way, I put in a silica little packet in here. I always keep them if they come into the house, just in case it's not completely dry. And I'm already using them in my smoothies. I put in about anywhere from a half to a full teaspoon of vegetables. Even I was surprised. All right, so let's start. So I am now going to, I've got some onion that I got out of the freezer. So this is red onion. There it is. All ready. So I'm going to take some, this is olive oil. So I'm just going to spritz at the bottom here. And I'm going to put in some red onion. And then I'm going to put in, what do we know? Lettuce is a good substitute for cabbage. So let's put in some lettuce. Because I'm still using up that lettuce that I overbought. Now we know that the lettuce is going to shrivel up into next to nothing, so I'm going to put more than I would probably think of, knowing that there's not going to be much of it left. Okay, there we go. Nice layer of that. The next thing, more green. I've got some celery here. And then even more green. What have I got in here? Yep, I've got leeks. Now, I cut the leeks two different ways. Some of the leeks I cut in little rounds. Oops, like that. Oop. Oh, you can stay down there. And the other bits I did into so some of them are in rounds and some of them are in strips. Can you see that? So I've got some more here. I'm going to put those into strips. Some more. There we go. That's lots of green. We like that. I've got some pepper. Now, this is another hack I wanted to show you. When I've cut up peppers during the week, I take whatever is left in a smaller mason jar and then put a piece of toilet paper on top, not from my bathroom, fresh. Put a piece of toilet paper on top to absorb any moisture. And that's been sitting there all week, and look at it, it's fresh as can be. So now, chop those up a bit more. And again, I'll do it in two different ways. There's a reason why I do it two different ways. I like to do whatever I can to eat more and more vegetables. And funny enough, when you cut them two different ways, they feel like they're different vegetables. It's probably good enough. And now we'll put a bit more toilet paper in there. Okay, so I just take a square of toilet paper and halve it again, like that. And then just put it in the lid. And that will probably last another week if I wanted it to. But luckily, I have a new one. All right, so now let's do some red. Now you're probably thinking that's a lot of vegetable, Sal, for a small amount of chow mein. Obviously, whatever I don't use in the chow mein, I will keep and add to the other things I'm cooking this week. Because you know me, I like to cheat. So that's that, and now we've got some carrot. A couple of ways of doing carrot. We can either use a potato peeler, which gives you nice thin strips of carrot. Or you can cut it and then just make small strips. Carrot takes a long time to cook, so the thinner it is, the better. Okay, so that can get it back in there. Now then, yes, Jody's saying it's always nice to have vegetables ready in a moment's notice. I find it great when I'm cooking in a hurry during the week. I've already got pre-cooked vegetables that I can just warm up, and I go, okay, fine. I don't feel like cooking beans or peas or whatever. And I go, never mind. I got mixed veg. I like that. So I'm going to put a bit more oil there, and we'll put some salt and pepper. Actually, I'm just going to put pepper because I'm trying to limit my salt. So put some black pepper in there. Now, because we're doing a chow mein type meal, I'm going to put another spice in there. And I don't know if any of you have got this. It's called Chinese five spice, and it's got everything included, aniseed and all sorts of stuff. Hang on a second. Let me tell you what's in there so you know. It has got fennel, coriander, star aniseed, yeah, right, cassia, and mandarin peel. Now, you got to admit, why wouldn't you want that on your vegetables? So that will give it a really nice kick. And then we'll mix that up. All right, so here we go. Now, two things you can do. We can either, oh, interesting. Cassia is cinnamon. I didn't know that. You can either roast the vegetables, just leave it open like that, or you can sort of steam them a little bit. Let's see how we do. Which way will cook better? I don't know. Let's just do an experiment. I don't think so. Okay, I decided against it because I think it will take this silicone too close to the very hot top of my air fryer. By the way, the water in the mason jar is already starting to boil, just to give you an idea. Now, I haven't put any tomato on it yet because I thought I'd use that for decoration. In the meantime, we've got some. Remember, I said to you that when I buy a big roast of beef and then I slice it up into single servings. All right. So here's a serving of beef. Looks like more than a serving, which is good because we're going to create 2 meals here. I wonder how much that is. Let's find out. Yep, it's more than a serving. You see, I can tell that just by looking at it now. It's actually nearly 5 ounces, where 3 ounces is what I normally eat. So it's close to twice, which will make 2 meals beautifully. We like that. So I'm just going to chop this up, cut off any fat. This is already cooked, so we don't need the cooking time in here. That's pretty good. Looks like a lot of meat. Amazing how I've changed. Wow, amazing. Right, now, what I'm going to be doing is actually just putting the meat on top of the chow mein, or just sprinkling it over. Remember, that is the difference now, which is meat becomes the add-on as opposed to the main part of the meal. So what I'm going to do here is take another mason jar and yeah, remember, this is the Campbell's basic beef stock with red wine. We know we're going to like that. So this is now, I'm going to cook it up so that I've got that sitting and I can choose whether I want to have that on its own with, half a potato or something later on in the week. I'm going to add some Bisto For those of you who don't know what pesto is, it's basically beef broth with cornstarch, I think. And they do chicken and they do... Anyway, it makes a great gravy, which is why I use it. So let's put some of that in. We want that to be a nice gravy. Might want to thicken that up a bit later. And then, I'm going to put a little bit of Major Grey chutney in there to give it the taste. And then we're going to whip that up. Pretty easy. And we're going to put that in exactly the same way. You don't have pesto? You must have it in the States. Surely. Okay, so that's going back in the fridge. Am I the only one? My fridge is like a Jenga puzzle. Don't pull one thing out without being very careful. All right, so we're going to put the lid on there. Not the screw top, just the lid. And we'll let that cook quietly. Where did that meat end up over there? I think the reason, by the way, that it cooks so quickly is because the lid is on, all right, and the heat is not escaping. So it's keeping all the heat within the mason jar. Jodie's saying, I can't fit 3 grains of rice in the fridge right now for fear of the Jenga puzzle toppling over. Yeah, I know the feeling. Hang on 1 second. Alexa, 10-minute alarm. Thank you. All right. So far, so easy. All right. So far, so easy. Yes, Isabel's saying that's a nice problem to have. Can you imagine being in the Ukraine or something where you would literally give your back teeth for the right to have a full fridge and electricity to run it? All right. So we're all done with this lot. I did tell you that I wash all my plastic bags. I turn them inside out and put them on the top level of my dishwasher. You all know that, right? I reuse my plastic bags. Some of these are probably 2 years old. Don't throw them away, people. Buy good ones, buy the thick ones, and reuse them. This is going to be the fun part for me. Okay, I'm going to put these away. Don't know why, but if I keep my vegetables in a sealed container like this with some paper, toilet paper in there, lasts the longest time. And to be fair, I think those are last week's vegetables. And they're still great. All right, now we still want that. Oh, now we need the chow mein sauce. All right, that's what I did this for. And that really is up to you what you put in it. But they recommend putting in some oyster sauce. And remember, I keep a paper towel around these bottles, so if it drips, it's not dripping onto my cupboard. It's dripping onto the paper towel, which is easy for me to remove and replace. So I'm going to put in a little bit of oyster sauce. I think we'll shake it up a bit. Try not to shake it up on the floor. In a while, apparently. There we go. It'll be an easier way than that. Now the oyster sauce is pretty powerful, so we don't want too much. Remembering, oh yeah, but very tasty. Yep. Okay, so we want some oyster sauce, we want some soy sauce. Okay, you saw me move it, there it is. You want some soy sauce in there. That's good. And what about some, I always think of Jody when I use this. This is sesame oil. That's good. What else will we need in there? Let me think. I haven't got chicken broth, but I do have beef broth, so why don't we put some of that in? Because I'm not doing chicken today, I'm doing beef. Put some beef broth in there. And that's just about it, I think. Now, some people will put some sugar in there, okay? Quite honestly, I don't need the sugar. No. And we just really need to warm that up. So I'll take a small mason jar, maybe one size up, medium mason jar. And again, just going to put a lid over the top of it like that, and we'll let that warm up, just like that. I'm just going to move things around. I don't want them to overcook. It really does taste like seaweed. Now, while that's still cooking, I've got to get the lettuce out of my teeth now. Let's have fun with dessert. Like everything else in life, it tastes better if it looks prettier. Okay. So what we're going to start with is a nice shaped wine glass. And we're going to make it really easy. We're going to use Cool Whip and mix a dessert. So I'm going to start with some frozen dark sweet cherries. Totally out of season, but they're so good frozen. Put a couple in the bottom. Why? Because they look so good. Then we're going to put in a little bit of just straight Cool Whip. Come on. Alexa, stop. Wonder what that noise is giving me the alarm. Yeah. And now what I'm going to do is put in some more Cool Whip. And I'm going to, I just want to put this back in the freezer. Hold on a second. And I'm going to add peanut butter to it. Why? Because protein. Let's whip that up. I love these experiments. So this turns out to be a sort of beigey color. I love cooking online. Really nice. Then I'm going to put a little bit more regular Cool Whip. Let that thaw a little bit. Waste not, want not. That's good. That's really tasty. All right, and then I'm going to put some more cherries, and I put those away. Okay, so now I'm going to put some more cherries on top. I'm going to put the Cool Whip away. It's going to be so tasty. It's very unusual that I can't open a lid with this. Yep. And now that's going back into the fridge. That's going to be an awesome dessert. To rearrange the Jenga just a little bit. Yeah, you know something though, Jody? It looks pretty, but here's the thing. What did I use? Probably a cup of Cool Whip. Could you just check that for us? Now, this is a really decadent Friday night dessert, right? Um, but we had peanut butter to balance it. We had some fruit in there. So you look at it and go, it looks way more dangerous than it really is. Now, you could leave out the maraschino cherries. I understand that. If you, but to me, it's like if I'm careful with everything else, if I have food portioning, I can have these things. 168 calories for a whole cup. What do you think? Is it worth it? You know it's going to taste really good. And by the way, just I could have added, the cocoa powder I put on top. I could have added that in and made another layer of chocolate. So totally worth it, and really, not nearly as bad for you as you think. So again, it's being creative rather than, oh, I'm not allowed to have dessert. Oh, yes, you are. And Jody, I find it really interesting how often my sister writes to me and say I'm being a bad person, I'm eating bread pudding or whatever. And I just write back and say, you're allowed to live. I learned that early on. This is a marathon, not not a sprint. But the other thing is what I said to my sister was, if my A1C stays where it's meant to be, I can have whatever I like. Does that make sense to people? I'm not worried about perfection. Can I keep my A1C where where it's meant to be? And if the answer is yes, all right, now then, Jody's saying that thank you for doing that, Jody, a normal cup, one small serving of traditional peanut butter mousse would be 382 calories. Uh, what did we use? About a tablespoon of this. This would have been 90 calories. So what did you say? 160, let's call it 150, 250. So, you save a lot by making it yourself. Now, the other thing I really recommend, um, other than making my gummies, I always keep an open packet of Jello. in my cupboard. Why? Because it's wonderful to take Cool Whip and just throw some of this on top and whip it in and have pink um, Cool Whip. Or if I'm having yogurt, I will throw this either on top to sweeten it up. This is no sugar Jello. Just sprinkle some on top, or again, I mix it in with the yogurt, or if I'm having a smoothie, I just put a little bit in. And it really boosts the taste, and very little goes a long way. Actually, I'm going to eat all of this, not half of it. It's Friday. So there's our noodle. And I've still got enough vegetables left over for another meal. That's almost perfect. Now this is the beef in the red wine mixture. So we're just going to take and I don't need the gravy, but it will have the taste anyway. So that's going to go on top. And this is now another meal left over to have with those vegetables. I'll let that cool before I tighten it up. Just put it on enough to hold it, and then I will wait for it to cool. Same with the vegetables. Oh yeah, that worked. It's good. Okay. So if you think about it, in 1 hour, 2 meals and a decadent dessert just by using leftovers. And one less plate to clean, but make it nice and easy. So I encourage you to cook in mason jars if you want portion control. Right? I know that's a nice portion. It's a cup of vegetables in there. That's good. Right? We know that is probably 2.5 ounces of meat in there. The rest of it is a little bit of gravy. And I'll have that with maybe half a potato. Half a potato. So think about these things and go, you can really clean up nicely. What I'm trying to do is to get my fridge empty enough so that I can now get down to buying the bare basics to go in every week. And by the way, I'm so proud of myself. You know that the freezer in this kitchen fridge was absolutely packed to the gunnels. I'm now starting to get food out of the big freezer and supplementing it into the one here. So today when I opened up the big freezer, I pulled out some pork and some beef. In other words, a selection of different foods. Some spaghetti pie. By the way, that spaghetti pie we made, I cannot tell you how much I've been enjoying that. What I do is when I heat it up, I just add a bit more liquid to it, because after it's been in the freezer, it's inclined to get solid. So I just add a bit more liquid to it and just a bit of stock or something and just, twirl it all around, put a little bit more cheese on top and then grill it. And I want to tell you, it is so good. I'm definitely making that on a regular basis. And again, another great way to use up your leftovers. This is DearMamaSal saying I'm off to go and eat now. I hope you've enjoyed this. How many of you are going, I want to see her eat the dessert? No, I'm not wasting that on you. I hope it's given you an idea of how my eating has changed. Can you believe that is now a meal for me? Whereas, when you think about it, if you um, if you had asked me about this 2 years or 3 years ago, I would say there's no way that's a meal. A dinner at that, not just a meal, dinner. That will satisfy me. Lots of color, therefore we know it's good for me. And lots of motivation to get through this so that I can eat the dessert. Thank you all for being here. Hope that made you smile a bit and hope that gave you some ideas on what to do with the leftovers. This is Dear Mama Sal saying, we'll see you Sunday. Thanks for your help, Jody, and bye-bye for now. Thank you all for being here.